Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. It always seems impossible until it's done. If you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart. There is no passion to be found playing small, in settling for a life that is less than the one you are capable of living. There can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. It is better to lead from behind and to put others in front, especially when you celebrate victory when nice things occur. You take the front line when there is danger. Then people will appreciate your leadership. After climbing a great hill, one only finds that there are many more hills to climb. Never, never and never again shall it be that this beautiful land will again experience the oppression of one by another. For to be free is not merely to cast off one's chains, but to live in a way that respects and enhances the freedom of others. Where globalization means, as it so often does, that the rich and powerful now have new means to further enrich and empower themselves at the cost of the poorer and weaker, we have a responsibility to protest in the name of universal freedom. Money won't create success, the freedom to make it will. As long as poverty, injustice and gross inequality persist in our world, none of us can truly rest. A good head and a good heart are always a formidable combination. Our human compassion binds us the one to the other, not in pity or patronizingly, but as human beings who have learned how to turn our common suffering into hope for the future. To deny people their human rights is to challenge their very humanity. Any man or institution that tries to rob me of my dignity will lose. There is no easy walk to freedom anywhere, and many of us will have to pass through the valley of the shadow of death again and again before we reach the mountaintop of our desires. There is nothing like returning to a place that remains unchanged to find the ways in which you yourself have altered. A good leader can engage in a debate frankly and thoroughly, knowing that at the end he and the other side must be closer, and thus emerge stronger. You don't have that idea when you are arrogant, superficial, and uninformed. It is wise to persuade people to do things and make them think it was their own idea. Courageous people do not fear forgiving, for the sake of peace. We pledge ourselves to liberate all our people from the continuing bondage of poverty, deprivation, suffering, gender and other discrimination. In my country we go to prison first and then become president. I stand here before you not as a prophet, but as a humble servant of you, the people. Let there be work, bread, water and salt for all. Forget the past. Let freedom reign. The sun never set on so glorious a human achievement. When the water starts boiling it is foolish to turn off the heat. I dream of an Africa which is in peace with itself. No country can really develop unless its citizens are educated. Does anybody really think that they didn't get what they had because they didn't have the talent or the strength or the endurance or the commitment? If there are dreams about a beautiful South Africa, there are also roads that lead to their goal. Two of these roads could be named goodness and forgiveness. If you want to make peace with your enemy, you have to work with your enemy. Then he becomes your partner. Even if you have a terminal disease, you don't have to sit down and mope. Enjoy life and challenge the illness that you have. Only free men can negotiate. A prisoner cannot enter into contracts. Running taught me valuable lessons. In cross-country competition, training counted more than intrinsic ability, and I could compensate for a lack of natural aptitude with diligence and discipline. I applied this in everything I did. There is no such thing as part freedom. Without education, your children can never really meet the challenges they will face. So it's very important to give children education and explain that they should play a role for their country. I dream of the realization of the unity of Africa, whereby its leaders combine in their efforts to solve the problems of this continent. I dream of our vast deserts, of our forests, of all our great wildernesses. Our daily deeds as ordinary South Africans must produce an actual South African reality that will reinforce humanity's belief in justice, strengthen its confidence in the nobility of the human soul, and sustain all our hopes for a glorious life for all. Non-violence is a good policy when the conditions permit. Intervention only works when the people concerned seem to be keen for peace. I do not deny that I planned sabotage. I did not plan it in a spirit of recklessness nor because I have any love of violence. I planned it as a result of a common sober assessment of the political situation that had arisen after many years of tyranny, exploitation and oppression of my people by the whites. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve. But if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die.